So today at work, me and another nurse, we was talking about the stock market. And we both kind of dab in stocks, me and this other nurse. Now the other nurse, they do it to watch the stock grow, and then they sell it off and make a profit. I do it the safe way, which is where you buy for the yield, for the dividend, for the monthly, bi-monthly, quarterly, or yearly payout. That's what I buy stock for. So anyways, we had got to the conversation about how to get the money to put into the stock market. I mean, you have to have money to eat, survive, gas money, food money, house money, you gotta pay rent, you gotta do all these things. But how is it that you can buy stock? Now, I do very little at a time. I just do. I don't have the income to where I can buy thousands of dollars worth of stock at a time. However, that did get me thinking, got my mind turning. If you were to say buy stock, let's just say, for instance, Ford. I only picked that one because I know the numbers off the top of my head right now because I looked at it just a little bit ago. Right now it's trading at about $10.80 a share, and it's paying out 5.5% dividend. That means if you put $1 million into Ford right now, you would make $55,000 a year, every year for the rest of your life. In theory, as long as everything stays perfect and Ford doesn't go under. But that's a pretty safe bet that you can make $55,000 a year for $1 million. And then that got me thinking, well, how in the world do you get $1 million? You know, I'm not a baseball player, a football player, or a superstar singer, or $1 million I can't just come across that easily. So what if you borrowed $1 million? Just think about that for a second. If you borrowed $1 million, what, and then put it into Ford. Well, let's just stay with Ford. Now, I wouldn't do that. I would, of course, spread it out if I did have $1 million, and I wouldn't borrow it to begin with. But if you did borrow $1 million and put it into Ford for that $55,000 a year guaranteed money, you would still have to make payments on that $1 million that you just borrowed. And then depending on how long you borrowed it for, depends on if you're even going to make any money. You know, if you borrowed it for 10 years, that means you have to pay $100,000 a year at 0% interest. And if the interest rate is anything at all, you have to pay more than $100,000 a year in order to get that $1 million. That's crazy. So, don't borrow money to invest in the stock market. Now, in some cases, it's next to impossible to put money into the stock market when you're living paycheck to paycheck. And even when you do it, and you do it like myself, to where I'm not really getting a big payout. I'm getting, like I said, the dividend yields. I'm not getting the cash out, whenever the stock goes up, I sell. I don't do that. I only get the dividend yields. So in my case, it would make no sense at all to have $1 million borrowed. It would be ridiculous. But I guess some people will do it. I don't know. I wouldn't. So if you're buying yield, don't borrow money. If you're day trading, don't borrow money. Because if you're day trading and your stock goes up, if your stock doubles, you made $1 million. So you can pay that $1 million back. If your stock splits in half, you've lost $500,000. Something to think about. don't day trade. I yield trade. And I've done pretty good so far. But I definitely haven't made $1 million. I hope it helps. Thank you much.